last day at school, but of course it's still a massive exam.
Yeah. It's also my son's 6th birthday today, so there's 3 significant moments today. I think we all know that I'm the sort of coach that I want to be as professional as I can to the end. So all the attention and focus is on getting the team ready today. Actually, this is weird because I never do a press conference prior to training, which is brilliant, so you can't ask me any team news. So I can avoid that on my last day. But yeah, I meant what I said the other day. I want to have a great training session. Something I always know, our match day -1s are a lot of fun. You know, we get to hopefully play in front of a sold out or close to sold out crowd at Old Trafford. And we get the opportunity that you train so hard for, is to be in with a shout on a title on the last day. That's all I've asked for from the players. And no matter the outcome tomorrow, I'm just extremely proud of the efforts of everyone to put us in this position.
How difficult is that, though? Obviously, that's what you're trying to do, and you're so experienced, I'm sure you'll manage to do it. But how difficult is it to do it? Because everyone around here is feeling emotional, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, I had my last drive into work today. My office is already cleared out. It's my last coaching session with a group of people who I've built strong bonds with. So I think staying on top of emotion is something I'm really good at. Sometimes I really hate that. I think you have to do that a lot as a manager. Sort of, you know, take a lot of emotion out of things, which probably one of the reasons why I'm leaving this job. Like, I actually miss Emma, and, you know, feeling like I don't have to watch every word I say or worry about what my body language looks like in every situation because I've got cameras on me. And but I wouldn't change a single thing, and I am so delighted to get one more training session with my team and one more game, and I know for sure we're going to enjoy it.
Knowing that it's in their hands and one more good performance means another WSL title is inspiration enough, but is all this the kind of extra inspiration that the players need?
I don't think so. I think we're accustomed to being in that position. I think everybody knows what's at stake, but look, we've had a lot of winning, and so I don't really think the pressure's on us. You know, of course I'd love to leave with another title, but it definitely won't define my tenure here. And I know for the players that for me, the most important thing is that we continue to stick together in the next couple of days, and we can continue to demonstrate, you know, why we've always had the resilience to be at the top end, you know, come the business end of the season.
Obviously, everyone knows you're a top coach. You know all about fine margins.
Yeah.
That conceding, was that mind games?
No, if Man City won the game at the weekend, they're at home to Arsenal. If I were to ask you what the odds were at 88 minutes of Chelsea being in for a shout of a title, they were extremely slim. I genuinely felt Man City would have won that game at home, having been in Man City's positions previously. So I felt everything was there for City to win at that point, but they didn't, and at that moment in time, and they left that door ajar. So I know people think it was mind games. Trust me, it was not in that moment. There's probably been many of them, but that definitely wasn't one of them.
What got us here won't get us there.
Yeah.
The team slogan, and that's very true today.
Yeah. Well, look, we've had to deal with a lot too this year. It's not just, you know, this long farewell that's gone on, but there's players leaving that, you know, have been legends of this club. There is a transition in the players that are coming through. You know, we had an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old playing against Tottenham in title-deciding moments. I trust in this whole group, and I'm delighted to being a place where we can go into tomorrow's game with everybody feeling like they can contribute.
But if you don't mind sharing with us, that slogan has been a part of the gift that you've given to every one of the squad. Can you tell us?
Yeah, just worked with an incredible woman called Becky to design a personalised championship ring. Mainly from my time in the US, I always liked their chunky championship rings, but it's a ring to sort of epitomise my 12-year tenure, featuring bits of my favourite kit at that time, obviously club logos and what got us here slogan on the front of it, and a personalised message to everyone.
And you got a gift from the players as well?
Yeah, no, I got this incredible piece of art from the players that's sitting on my sideboard at home with this incredible vase, but is including everything, memories in the last 12 years that matter to us all, scripted into it. And yeah, we had a really nice barbecue last week, and got a chance to sort of just sit outside the building actually and have a nice time with each other. So
thank you.
Cheers, Gary. Who's next? Bradley?
Hi Emma, hope you're well. There's been so many twists and turns in this title race this season. How have you found it from your perspective?
Probably no different from any others, except the set of challenges are different every year. I think the biggest challenge is obviously that I have to maintain the standards, even though I'm the one departing at the end of the year, and that's tough. That's tough to do that. But full credit to the players in terms of being able to do that. I think that's been a big challenge, and one that I'll probably reflect on in a little more detail. Two, inevitably I'm going into another job, and I have to be mindful of the preparations and that need to happen for that in the background. Three, you do this for 12 years. Do it for 12 years when you're in your menopause as well. Like, that's not easy. And I say that in a really, I learned a lot about being a woman in midlife in a position like this. And it's not easy, really, really isn't. As well as being a parent to a young, gorgeous boy that I love immensely. And I think all of those challenges they're taken its toll for sure. But I'm supported by so many brilliant people, so that helps.
When you look back over the course of your time at Chelsea, what is it that's going to give you the greatest amount of pride or satisfaction, maybe?
I can say this, probably, and it is hard to always think about the past, and especially 12 years ago, but going from nothing, going from an unranked team that was close to relegation, that had no resources, that had no facilities, no players that were professional. I think the journey is probably the most satisfying piece of that. And people always like to pick holes at the things you don't do, but honestly what we've achieved here is remarkable considering our starting point. We didn't have a history in women's football. We're now considered one of the top sides in the world, and to get that respect and be part of a club that bought into that, I'm probably most proud of those. And then of course the people. This is about human beings, and being able to experience whomever they were, players, staff over that time that have built that. Yeah, I'd say they are. And of course winning. Winning is has been just as important, but I don't think the winning is going to be my lasting memories, to be honest.
You were talking about the strain and everything that's taken out of you being a manager in your first answer there. Obviously Jurgen Klopp is something similar. Do you think that needs to be looked at, the amount of pressure that managers are under, and would that put you off managing in club football again?
I absolutely love that you've given me the opportunity to open up, which I think is a really important topic. In the football world, so much has to change, whether it's off the pitch, you know, from whatever, commercially to backroom staff to how we operate. The one thing that hasn't changed, in my opinion, over the course of times is press conference. I think this setting has to evolve so that it can be something that isn't. I get it. You're paid to gain content from this, but I'm not sure it's the best use of time between a manager and the press anymore. Like, sometimes I wish I was in the old days where maybe it was a small press pack. I actually did that earlier on, where you could sit in and you could have a little off the record conversation, but also like share good things. Now I think it's just an exercise of not tripping up. So that feels to us like, you know, just, don't know, you say too much, you get whacked for it. You don't say enough, then it's just something dull, repetitive function that we have to serve for you guys. And I think this needs to modernise much in the way the football world does. So thanks for asking me that.
No worry. And lastly, you're now going to be looking in from the outside as the WSL continues its growth. What more would you like to see in the coming years? Like, we've looked at TalkSport, at football boots, for example, and what we found is that there's not enough football boots designed for female athletes, either unisex or male, and it could be a contributing factor towards ACL injuries. Do you think that needs to be looked at as well as other things going forward?
I think we all know I've been an advocate of, you know, not just the women's game, but like how to do the best for women in the game. And I still think we're wide of the mark with that. If you think that, I don't know, I think there will be declining numbers of female coaches, I think for sure, because of the demands. And if you're a parent, forget about it. Like, unless we have an openness and a willingness to consider different things. And actually, I'm sure I could speak for all facets of the business. If you're a physio, you're a doctor, you're a journalist, it's really, really difficult to be a parent and full-time in this industry, which isn't 9 to 5, it's 7 days a week. So I think being open to doing things differently. I'd love to see a co-coaching team. Like I said this before, I would love to see females coaching the game, maybe 2 mums that are able to maybe have a little bit of a shift. I think we have to consider those things. I think there is still not enough done in and around, like, the ACLs and boots are one part of that, and thank goodness there's research that's still being done on that. I personally think that'll take another 10 years to get to that point, and I think some of that is because there still isn't enough investment in our academies, in our youth system. So for me, it's like the women's game's just beginning. It's just beginning, and it's just more investment. But you know what? We don't have to shout about it in the same way when we almost sell out, you know, a lot of big games now. I think the game is demonstrated in its own right that it's valuable, it's worth something. It's probably financially the biggest growth area in football. You know, the Premier League is saturated in what you can earn from that if you are owners. But the women's game, you know, maybe you could. You've seen how much clubs are going for in NWSL. You see what's going to happen with the women's game here. So, yeah, I mean, keep growing, but don't lose the authenticity that has served so well. I love that fans are coming into the game. It's been great. I think it's getting a little nasty, but I think that's, you know, that, and I'm speaking on behalf of the players when I say that. I see some of the abuse this year, you know, it's been at an extreme level, whether it was Becky Spencer in the cup final the other day. Honestly, I spoke to Becky when I went to Tottenham and how her mental health felt after that game because of the abuse, because she made a poor back pass and the names she's been called to the way Lauren James or Fran Kirby, whomever. Like, I think it's that part of the game or social media that I don't like. I hope that changes with regulations. So I support the work Eni Aluko's doing to really challenge the government on that.
That's great. Best of luck this weekend and best of luck in your next adventure.
Thanks.
We'll go to Tim next and then Sandra, please.
Emma, oddly, you are the manager who knows United's left back best. I'm just wondering if, as she was here, well, practically since Harry's age, on and off, I wonder, do you take a mix of pride at the way she's now a cup winner and everything, but is there also a touch of regret about how Hannah left when really clearly she's got plenty left to give?
Oh, listen, Hannah, has become a leader at Manchester, and she, is someone who's, I think, really deserving of what she's doing there. There's always, players want to play, I get that, and, at that time she wasn't in the team, and I think I admire players that are really clear on that. They don't sort of sit in frustration with it, they want to play, and I'm happy for Hannah that she went on and did that, and you can't take away what she's achieved at Chelsea. That will always be with her, but equally I'm sure she's just as proud of what she's done with Manchester United.
Thanks, Emma. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Sandra?
Did you get your shirt?
Yes, no problem. Thanks.
Hi Emma.
Hey.
Just talking of Man United, just wanted to get your thoughts on facing them in, obviously your last game in charge, but also the challenge you'll think they'll represent to you this time around, particularly having won the Women's FA Cup as well.
Yeah, I mean, they deserving of winning the FA Cup, to knock out the holders and put on the performance they did against Tottenham. I'm really happy for Mark. I think Mark has demonstrated that he's learned with each year, what you need to do to win trophies. I think his fan base are really tough on him, being honest. I think he's bought first piece of silverware to that football club and he got booed. And I'm thinking, he doesn't. This is what I'm saying. Like, managers deserve a little bit more than that. So I'm proud of Mark for the way he's dug in to keep sort of driving Man United to where they are. And I know he'll love nothing more than a packed crowd at Old Trafford. It's something he's been driving. He knows how passionate that fan base is. So, listen, they won't want to watch someone lift a title on their patch. They won't want to do that, and they will want to demonstrate why the FA Cup is just the beginning for them. So it will be an incredibly tough game.
And just going back to some of what you were saying earlier, you talk about the changes you'd like to see, and also the changes that you've thought about since taking charge of Chelsea. But what do you hope your kind of legacy going forward would be in terms of what's the lasting thing you want here at the club?
I got a right chance to say something before I get sacked, right? When I see Arsenal announce that they got 11 home games, this should be happening here. That's what I want to see at Chelsea. I want to see us play at Stamford Bridge every week, but sold out. That's the first thing. I want the girls to have a new facility. I want that to continue to be upgraded. I want them to continue to have a voice, and I know they will. I know the technical directors, will work with the leadership group, the playing leadership group, and they will, continue to build on that. I want them to put the legacy into the walls, but through the eyes of the players, not mine. I want them to be heard around what legacy is to them and what the cultures are that they want to remain. And I want them to never ever stop asking, what can we do better? As I always say, do it again, but do it with class and keep giving to the Chelsea fan base in the way that they have.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Connor and then Catherine.
Hi, Emma. If you think back to when you announced your departure, and if you could have then written a script for how the rest of the league season will play out, would you have wanted to have been this hard fought with the up and downs? Does that sort of epitomise your time at Chelsea if you get over the line tomorrow?
I think if you think of what Sir Alex said about his last season, when players know you're going and all the challenges that come, I think it's been tough for it's a lot of pressure to put on the players. Every week you ask me the same question, and they're having to perform with that unnecessary boulder on their shoulders. I promise you, they'll play with freedom tomorrow. There's no pressures. There's merely joy and privilege, and their manager is so proud of everything they've done, and I just want to look forward and make sure it's a day where we can just be Chelsea tomorrow.
You spoke about the sort of young core that you're leaving for your replacement. Even in the last week, we've seen Aggie get her first call up, we've seen Hamana get the winner on Tuesday or Wednesday. You've also got Hannah Hampton in the development she's had this season. Now she comes up against England's established #1, and she is pushing her all the way to overtake her. How impressed have you been by her development? How much of a surprise has it maybe been, and what is her ceiling?
I mean, Hannah has come in and, you know, she's taken on board everything we asked, particularly the first half of the season. She's gone into goal and I think elevated her game even further. She knows this. The next steps for her are, listen, you've got to learn to play a Champions League semi-final for Chelsea, and then 3 days later maybe a title decider away at Liverpool. That's not something she's accustomed to yet. And I say that because you imagine you have to deal with the adrenaline, come downs and go again. Playing every 3 days is what you have to learn to do at Chelsea, and not everyone can do that. But Hannah understands that, and I think she will only keep growing as she learns to regulate her emotions and the energies that come with that. But let me tell you, she's a super kid. I love my time with Hannah Hampton. She's someone who is hard on herself, really, really hard on herself. Maybe lets that get in the way a little bit. But I have complete faith and trust that she will go on to be an extraordinary goalkeeper for both club and country.
Finally, it's probably the most important question.